My husband won't do anything. He is so lazy. Everything ends up on my plate and I am drowning in responsibility. I can't keep living like this. If this sounds like you, then this video is for you. So tune in, listen up, and get ready to take some notes because I'm about to help you deal with a lazy husband. I totally get how frustrating that this can be. When my husband got out of the army several years ago, he spent 2 years unemployed doing nothing but playing video games and eating junk food. And here's what I did. I said, Rob, seriously? Please get up and do something with your life. Or I would say, Rob, can't you see that I am doing everything and you are doing nothing? And finally, what if we just split our bank account so that you only get the money that you make? Okay, I didn't actually say that last one, but I definitely thought it a couple of times. I did all of the wrong things. Is it how I felt? Yes, I was frustrated. But was it going to change my husband? No. Because here's the first and most important thing that you need to know. Number 1, you cannot change your spouse. Here's what that means. You cannot change your spouse. You cannot change your spouse. And finally, you cannot change your spouse. You cannot force or dictate them into doing something that they don't want to do. And you probably shouldn't force them into it, even if they do want to do it, because no one wants to feel controlled. We see that played out in real life all of the time now. So then what do you do? Just accept that this is your fate? No. The second point I have to make is you can have a conversation with your husband, but start with curiosity. Most of the time when people present as lazy, it is likely because there is something deeper going on. Depression, hurt, anger, physical issues, health issues, even trauma, and being yelled at just makes it worse. It further solidifies the voice in their head already telling them more than likely that they are not good enough. So it's up to you to be the voice of hope and encouragement. So start with curiosity. As Dr. John Gottman told me in an interview that I had for him for my podcast, It Starts With Attraction, curiosity is the key to a long-lasting marriage. Don't just assume that you know what your spouse is thinking or feeling or why they are thinking or feeling those things. Ask. So one way to do this is to say, hey, I see that you have been struggling and you seem down, like you've lost some enjoyment. What's going on? They may not want to talk about it at first, and that's okay. They could be embarrassed, ashamed, or walled off, or maybe not even aware of their own emotions in the moment. But keep inviting conversation in your questions, your actions, and in your tone of voice. Ask about your husband in other ways as well. Maybe start by just asking them to go out and do fun things with you that are something both of you could enjoy. Get them out and doing things. That's one way to get conversation started and to get them out and doing things. Ask for help around the house instead of trying to put it on them and guilt them. Just ask for the help. So earlier in this video, I mentioned that when my husband was getting out of the military, he took 2 years where he was trying to figure out what he wanted to do. But in those 2 years, he was doing absolutely nothing, and I handled it all the wrong ways. But what I didn't realize, because I wasn't asking the right question until at the end of that 2 years, was that in reality, my husband was going through major depression. He had had a major shift in his life. He had spent 7 years being a part of the military. He knew what he was supposed to do and what was expected of him. And even though he was excited to be able to get his freedom again and to leave the military, it was a very difficult transition for him. And what we know about depression, about loss, about grief, is that grief can happen anytime someone experiences a change in their normal routine. So when all of us experienced the lockdown of COVID, we all experienced grief. We all experienced loss of a normal expected range of behavior, a normal expected routine of daily life. And that was what my husband was experiencing. And when I was able to understand that and to empathize with him and where he was, it was so much better for him, for me, for our marriage, for the whole situation. And maybe that's what it takes for you right now as well. How can you ask to understand where your husband's coming from, but also to gain empathy so that you will better know how to be his support during this time that he's going through? And by the way, be sure that you subscribe to this channel. Be sure that you like this video, share it with another friend of yours that may enjoy it, but also subscribe and hit the bell so that you'll be notified of new videos that come out. And if you're listening to this as a podcast, then be sure that you follow this podcast wherever you're listening to podcasts so that you will get weekly updates when new episodes release. All right, so the third point is, as always, get help. There may be times that you do need to draw a line after you've done all of the right things. If there's still a lack of responsibility and equitable share of chores and tasks, then you may want to consider some boundaries, but be wise in that. Or better yet, ask your spouse to attend one of our Marriage Helper workshops. It will allow both of you to have a better understanding and teach you how to have better conversations on how to meet each other's needs. So tell me in the comments, what did you learn from this video and how will it apply to your life? And also consider watching this next video if you're wanting to figure out how to get your husband's attention. I'll see you in the next video.